All good?
Never have too much tool storage. So I just gotta strap this down and take her back to the cabin, and then I'm gonna use the excavator to carry it up to the job site.
What? Oh, okay. City slickers, hey? Are we in Italy? Going down the channel in Venice?
Canadian gondola.
In the rain.
So romantic.
So romantic, yes. Off he goes. Sucker.
Hey guys, just wanted to give you a heads up and make sure you click the link in the description box below to take advantage of the Makers Mob to the lowest membership price ever. This Black Friday, Cyber Monday, for a limited time, the Makers Mob presents the Authentic Craftsman series. In this limited run series, teachers like myself, Jimmy DeResta, John Peters, John Heiss, Neil Pask, Liam Hoffman, and Frank Howarth will teach you the skills necessary to become an authentic craftsman. Through a curated list of woodworking projects and tutorials, the Authentic Craftsman series will teach you everything from traditional hand-cut joinery, wood turning, furniture making, blacksmithing, and even leatherwork. There's no question this series will have you well on your way to becoming a well-rounded craftsman. So click the link in the description box below to get access now and take advantage of our lowest membership price ever.
All right, so this big stump here that was cut, the neighbor said that it was blown over, laying down, and then when they bucked it, it stood right back up again. So the root ball is detached. It's a big slab of rock right here. So I'm gonna cut this sucker down, but I also want to take down this guy right here. And I need to basically thread it right in between those, you know, just nick the branches of that tree, but I don't want to hit that tree because then it could go anywhere. And I just placed my toolbox right there, but thankfully, like, that rock should protect it. Even if it does land like above the toolbox, it'll hit the rock and deflect, so I don't think it's gonna do any damage to the toolbox. Famous last words. So yeah, I'm gonna just notch this thing and try and basically put it in between that stump and the toolbox and just drop it on the edge of the rock there. That way I can clear out the stump and create more of an access road for my machine to come through here and then go up our access road without having to like go down, hairpin, come up around the outhouse and then turn. I'm just gonna clear this whole area right out, get that big stump out, put it on a burn pile, and just create a little bit more flat area here. They did it.
Hey guys, I just wanted to take a minute to thank some of my favorite brands and companies who have partnered with us on this wild journey. Without their support, this channel would not be possible. So I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Odie's Oil, U2 Fasteners, Granberg International, and Princess Auto for becoming official sponsors of the Samurai Carpenter YouTube channel. I encourage you guys to send some love back to them and check out all that they have to offer. To do that, just click the links in the description box below.
Well, when the log hit the ground, she kicked up a bit of dirt, sprayed the side of my cabin, so I gotta sweep all that off. But no damage done other than that. This one's got a nice curve to it, but it also has this ring shake right here. So I'm gonna try milling that down with my Alaskan mill. This is too big to fit on the sawmill. And see if we can make a nice curved beam out of it. It's got some pretty decent growth rings. Not old growth, but I'd say it's probably, well, maybe it's old growth. It's pretty tight growth rings though, so it'll make a good piece of timber, hopefully. You can actually see now we're at the narrow end, the top end, and the ring shake does go all the way through, so I don't know. If I slab it, like kind of take off one half, then that section of ring shake might just split off, that little chunk on the bottom and the top, and then you'd have a beam about the size of that where the crack, the shake is. So still might be a good chunk of timber. If not, well, make it into firewood. So yesterday when I tried to move this giant curved log and put it on top of this pile, being a noob machine operator, slipped out of the claw, landed here, but it didn't land right here. It actually landed on my sawmill and bent it pretty good. So yeah, good thing I ordered a couple extensions to the bed. I was hoping to make it like over 20 feet, but I might have to, there's two sections here. Might have to take off this section and just, I don't know, see if I can bend it back or something to get it straight, because the tracks roll on these, right? So if that's bent, then the cut's going to be bent. But bit of a bummer, but oh well. That's what I get for putting the sawmill so close to my pile. One thing I'm noticing about this property, the more I work here, is there's no flat spaces anywhere that are bigger than like a 20 by 20 area. So it's really hard to find, it's really hard to work essentially, because where do you put piles of materials? Right, if you leave wood, especially smaller dimension wood, like 2 by 1 by 4 by, that sort of stuff, on uneven ground, the wood will actually warp over time, right, to sit on the ground. If it's, on a hump, the wood will settle into that, right, and it'll twist. So you have to have the wood stacked up flat as possible, right? And that's really hard to do here, right, to get dunnage on flat ground and stack all the piles of wood that I want to use to, build decks and everything. So I'm finding that I'm taking down more trees than I originally wanted to, but the further I go back on my property, the more I realize there's no shortage of trees and timber here. It's just wood everywhere. So it's just a matter of clearing enough space to have, comfortable road access to the back of my property without, super sharp hairpin turns. The other thing I'm noticing is, like, when I want to pick up a log with my machine and carry it back down here to work on it or put it on the sawmill, use it for like a log boom, right? It's hard to get around my road, right, with this big 20-foot log going around these hairpin turns with trees really close to the edge of the road. I can't get around, right? And dragging it out, same issue, it hits the trees. So I'm clearing more trees on either side of the road just to make, you know, give a bit of a shoulder on the sides. It's crazy to think that one day in the future, all of this will be walkable. This is like a nice rocky knoll in here, but you can't even walk on it because there's so much dead wood everywhere you look. But I just want to get footage so that I can compare, you know, the work that I do. It's so easy to forget what things were like when you started. And everybody just sees the finished product and goes, oh, that's nice. They don't actually know what it took to get it there. The stump is going down. That's what you get messing with the samurai. Woohoo! That was a biggie. Biggie big. Woo! Making the road wider. Look at that nice big hole. The cool thing is where these rock outcroppings came, you know, charging out of the earth whatever million years ago. So along the edge of this rocky hill here, which I've kind of been following, like kind of one rocky hill to the other, right? When it pushes up, there's lots of like broken, good road-based kind of rocky dirt. So I've been hugging this knoll here, this rock knoll, because basically it's just perfect road base, like 3-inch minus, very like dirt, clay, not like organic soil. There's very little like black soil, but it's really good road base. So little tip, if you're making a road, just stay close to any big rock outcroppings and you'll get some good aggregate, hopefully. Gotta say, I'm getting good at this. I didn't have to say it, but I said it. Good girl. You guys are looking for the friggin' tits of chainsaw. Still is not a sponsor. It'd be awesome if they were, but this saw is frickin' rad. The MS362C. Got about 60 cc's. I got a 20-inch bar on there, but a 24 would actually be ideal. Just a great little saw. Not too heavy, lots of power, great for bucking and limbing, and falling smaller trees. So I'm learning that with every blessing in life comes a responsibility. You know, I look at this machine and I go, what a blessing this machine is. But I also have a responsibility to maintain it. That's more work. So the machine works for me, but I gotta work for that machine. And it seems like there isn't really any way to get around that in life, not that I've found. You know, people think about things, they just go, oh, you know, like conveniences, they just take them for granted. But I hope you guys look at every convenience and blessing in your life and ask yourself, am I taking responsibility to ensure that, you know, this blessing continues to stay in my life? It's something that I can help other people with. So every so many hours, I gotta get out the grease gun here and grease up this machine so that she stays healthy, the joints don't wear out. So there's nipples on all of these, each end of each hydraulic cylinder, every joint, every pivot, every little connection, there's a grease fitting, right? So about every 12 hours I grease her up. And one thing's for sure, is if you don't take responsibility for the blessings in your life, well, they soon turn into curses.
Don't miss out on the Makers Mob's lowest membership price ever. Make sure you click the link in the description box below to get access now, because the sale is closing Monday at midnight.
You can see it, but there's snow in that mountain there, and even on the tip of that one too. Winter's here. Man, that's beautiful. All right, guys, guess what I'm installing today? Got some spiral galvanized 6-inch ducting here. So in the last shop I used just the fold together stuff, and that works okay if it's heavier gauge stuff, but the standard like 30 gauge fold together, which is pretty lightweight, and if you have a heavy duty suction system like I do with 220 volt, it can actually collapse your pipes just from the suction, especially if you don't have enough gates open and stuff like that, whereas the spiral stuff is a lot stiffer. It's just heavier gauge, and will not collapse, is essentially what I'm saying. So if you can get the spiral stuff, I think you pay a bit more for it. It's worth it for your dust collection system. And then you can just use regular elbows and joints and stuff like that. You don't need super heavy gauge stuff, because they don't there's enough folds and bends in these ones that they're not gonna, the joints won't collapse. So just using the standard 6-inch elbows and that sort of stuff. And then I'm gonna go to, when I come down, so I'm gonna go up to the ceiling here, put a Y in there and have one run going over to the joiner, and then have another run coming up to the post here and down the post for the table saw and planer. And I'm gonna try and keep it as big as I can, probably go down the inside edge of this post here. I'll move my track to the other side. And then have a Y coming off here, and a reducer, so a 6-to-4 reducer for the little 4-inch slinky pipe there. And then same thing, I'll have another section of this 4-inch pipe that'll go down to the dust collection for the table saw underneath. And then same thing over there, 6-inch down the wall, switch to a 6-to-4 reducer, and then slinky pipe over to the joiner. And that's all I'm gonna worry about for dust collection. Like, it'd be nice if I had one over on the horizontal sander there, but that just throws dust everywhere anyways. Like, some of it gets collected, but not a lot. And it's just a wood shop. It's gonna be dusty. And I know it's not good for your lungs. You wanna have the best dust collection possible, which I agree. But I find that, you know, that's just really hard to do unless you're like on a full-time dust collection job. You know, like that's just like what you do half the time, is like sweep up the dust in your shop, vacuum up every little bit of dust after you use a router or something like that. And it's, you know, that's a good practice, but I just don't have the patience for that. And I'm trying to create a healthier life by living outdoors. You know, that's what this whole off-grid project is about, and spending as much time outside working as possible. And that is another reason why we've kind of moved the direction of this channel, is because, you know, spending the last several years in an enclosed shop space, breathing in dust, I know that's just not good for my health. And turns out I also don't really enjoy it like as much as I used to. I still love woodworking per se, but, you know, it's not something that I can do every day. I need to also be outdoors and in the forest and just interacting with nature. That's just a part of my soul and what my soul craves. And so I'm listening to that part of me, and thankful that I can also make a living working out in the woods, and so taking full advantage of that as well. But yeah, I always want to have a wood shop of some kind, and, you know, we'll see how that works out with the off-grid property. Maybe I'll go unplugged, or, you know, just have to use smaller machines to do what I want to do. But for the meantime, I've got the shop space and I'm going to take advantage of it, right? So let's put some dust collection pipes in. Okay, so we got a 6-to-4 reducer here. Put that in. So I'm going to put another one on over here. That's for the planer. This one's going to go down under the table to the table saw. So this time around, I'm using these metal gates. They're definitely a lot sturdier, really, you know, thick construction. You know, solid metal, bent, you know, steel. So they're a little stickier than the plastic ones I used last time around, but they've got this spring on the back, and you can see there's this little like hook here that kind of, when it opens, it's supposed to kind of catch. There's a little pin right there, so you kind of tilt it and then push it in and it hooks there. And then when you want to release it, you just kind of pull it back and drop it in, and it kind of spring loads. So they're a little sticky. I think that's why I opted not to use them last time, and I used the plastic ones. But the old plastic gates, I don't know if I've got one here. You know, I had to drill them out and screw and glue the little switches on. And I found that over time, these plastic gates, they come apart right here. Like they're just glued together. And so that part eventually splits apart. Even though I found like stuff was getting stuck, which it might still in the metal ones, it would get stuck in that groove there, and then the gate wouldn't close properly. So these are cheaper, I think, but they don't last as long. Like several of them were kind of breaking in the old shop, and I don't see how I could break these ones. They're super solid. Just a little, you know, a little finickier, but it's pretty good once you get the hang of it. It's just the metal kind of, you know, binds and sticks on itself a little bit, but once you get the technique down, those will last for sure. And I found that like with the plastic ones, once the wood chips would get stuck kind of in here, and then the gate wouldn't close all the way, the switch wasn't operating as well. But that looks like it's got a really good contact on the switch, so we'll see. We'll see if they jam up too. But they usually send you one when you buy the Long Ranger switch, which is, you can get it on Amazon. It's not a sponsored plug or anything, but I used it in my last shop, and it lasted for like 7 years. The whole time I had it, pretty much. Yeah. It kind of got a little finicky, and I had to like clean out some of the wires and stuff like that, but it still kept working. And what it is it's basically like a little switch control, like a low voltage switch that wires up to these little plugs right here with this just low voltage wire, and then you have to run this up your piping back to the switch, which so you plug it in there, and then like it's got a little plug on it, and then it's just another little box that you screw to the wall, and then you plug your planer into that box, and then it has two little wires on top where you run all your switch wires to. And then that way, whenever you open this blast gate here, the little low voltage switch is triggered, and then that sends power to the dust collection and turns it on. So it only turns on when you open a blast gate, which is great because then you get direct suction on just the tool that you're using, and you don't have to be looking for like a remote. A lot of people get like remotes that they just have like a little handheld remote, but you know, you set it down somewhere and you've lost it or whatever. And then also like, it's just nice because if you forget to open the blast gate or whatever, and you turn the remote on, it can put extra pressure on your motor. So I find that this little blast gate system, it worked perfect. So you can check it out. It's the Long Ranger, which is what my wife calls me, oddly enough. Yeah. So I'm just waiting for that to show up in the mail, and then I will have this. So if I want to use my machines before I get that switch installed, I have to go over to my dust collection system and flick the little paddle switch there every time I want to use it, which is a pain in the ass. And so yeah, but we're pretty much wrapped up here. I just got to get the joiner over there down the wall, switch to the 4-inch, connect it there with a blast gate as well, and I can run these machines. Like, I feel like I'm like out of practice or something. It's been months since I turned any of these machines on, and I'm kind of like, okay, do I remember how to joint and plane wood still? Yep, I think so. We'll see. Another thing that I'll probably get called out in the comment section for by the hardcore dust collection gurus out there is like, I use 90s up there, and they say like that, you know, every 90 kind of cuts a bit of the suction power down. So actually, if I wanted to do the best possible setup, I would have done like a 45 and then a section of pipe on a 45 and then another 45. So it's not like such a sharp corner. but I think the fact that I'm running 6-inch right close to the machine, and there's only like 2 90-degree bends, or 3, I guess, if we include this little slinky down to the actual machine, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have just as good a suction as I had in the last shop, which was more than adequate. And I was running, you know, longer sections of this plastic piping, which is typically like terrible for suction, right? Because it has all these like ribs inside it that create friction, right? And reduce your suction power. So your CFM. So yeah. Before I had it like 6-inch kind of on the roof, and then I switched to 4-inch down the post, and then switched to the rubber hose. And so they say that, you know, the longer the 6-inch pipe that you can run before you choke it down to 4 inches, the better CFM or suction power you'll have. I don't know. Like I try not to geek out on this stuff, guys. Like I get that some of you are really into that. You know, you're engineer types. I'm just not, you know, so like do your thing, judge me, don't judge me, I don't care. Bottom line is kicking ass, making beautiful stuff, and you're just geeking out on a dust collection system. You know, it's important stuff, you know your numbers a little bit, but it's just about balance is what I'm saying, guys, right? Like, I'm not going to rag on you for being a super dust collection nerd. And, you know, appreciate if you didn't rag on me for being a hick. But, you know, we got to find that balance, because, you know, if all you're doing is geeking out about your shop tools and you're not actually building stuff with them, like furniture and practical, useful things, what are you doing? Like, come on, bro. Do you even woodwork? That should be like a shirt. Do you even woodwork, bro? Okay, I'm talking to a camera. There's nobody else in the room. Yeah, it's a weird life being a YouTuber, I'll tell you that. So I was feeling under the weather here all this last weekend, so I just laid low and rested while we had a little visit from a atmospheric river, as they call it on the weather station now. Used to be a Pineapple Express, but I guess got to use more intense language nowadays. And yeah, the water level has come up probably 3 feet. Right, it was down, you know, just a little bit below those rocks right there, as the dock was almost touching the ground. Now we're at least 3 feet of water here underneath. This log is leveled right out, and we got another atmospheric river coming too, so it's probably gonna come up onto the concrete a fair bit too. You know, out here on the west coast, or near the west coast, it's pretty common to get like 150 mils of rain in just a couple of days. So with all the creeks and little tributaries running into this lake, it fills up real fast. Thankfully, it also levels out and drains pretty quick if we get like a week without too much rain. So I'm hoping this year won't be as bad as last year, where the water level came right up onto the wood posts. Not that it's a big deal though, because it's like all rock here. There's nothing really that's gonna flood or anything. And where I'm working, it's way up above the water level, so it's all good for me. And this will be a good test to see how my chains are faring, right? Because I put a bunch of slack. You can see the chains down there, right? They have a bit of droop in them. So the water level should be able to come up a fair bit more, and it won't, you know, pull my dock underwater. Same with my log boom, right? I've got counterweights on those ones, so that should be able to float up as the water level rises and not, you know, have any negative effects on the log boom. But this is the first time it's being tested. So be interesting to see how everything holds up and if my anchors move around or not, but all I can do is weather the storm. Well, we also had a pretty crazy windstorm along with the rain, and it looks like my tent had all it could take, because she's toast. You know, the top already had a rip in it. I think the puddles, it was holding water, and then with the weight of all that water puddling in the canvas there, along with strong winds, it just pushed her over, because I had it's bolted down to the deck back there, and it was bolted right there with that little foot ripped off. So no saving that one. She's just bent and mangled, which is a bummer. Like, it lasted what, a year and a bit? Yeah, 1 full year it lasted. So that's $300. I'm not gonna buy another one. I'm gonna just I was planning on getting a custom like canvas made that will bolt on underneath the fascia there, and then I was gonna build like some 2 posts with like a little Japanese kind of torii gate style thing and bolt it to the end of the deck here, and then have the tarp kind of taper and connect to that, so that it's like a real permanent kind of heavy duty marine canvas. So that's something I'm gonna have to get on here pretty quick if I want to have any shelter over my kitchen area. Fun. So yeah, hopefully there's not too much other damage from the wind anywhere. Yeah, looks like we got a little blow down here of maple. Looks like it was kind of already dead. The top branches didn't seem to have anything going on. She split down right over there. A few other kind of wind blown branches, but no big deal. So the nice thing about these heavy rainfalls is you can kind of see where there's little seasonal waterways trickling through here across the road. Right, so we've got this rock knoll kind of coming down here, and this one feeding in here, so it's just this natural little ravine where the water's springing out of the ground. So I'm going to need to dig a little culvert in through the road here, just so it can all drain naturally and not wash out my road. So once I get these stump piles all piled up and burning, I'll have to order some lengths of culvert, probably just 12-inch. I don't know, maybe go big, eh? If it's really pouring rain, that'll probably be a lot more current. So plan out where I put my culverts in and get this road really permanent. Does anybody else think it's like so cool just watching, or I'm like literally watching clouds form? Literally. Just see all that mist just coming right off the water and just going right up into the clouds. That is just so cool.
Hey guys, thank you for watching this video, and remember to click the link in the description box below to get access and take advantage of the Makers Mob's lowest membership price ever.